Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. Today I have my mentor and a dear friend now, Kevin. I can't say your last name. so, Kevin or AKA Kevtech from YouTube, and I'll be in this podcast. I'm probably just gonna ask him a lot of tech questions and how to get into like IT and stuff. General here and there talk, and yeah, without any further ado, let's get started. So, hi, Kev.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, Kev. For starters, how do you say your last name, man?
My last name's Apollinario.
Paulo Nerio. Okay,
Yep.
all right. It's a unique name. Like I don't know, the first time I'm hearing the last name.
Yeah, it's Italian. I'm not Italian, but it's Italian.
Hmm. So
Yes.
somebody from Italy decided to go to Ecuador for some reason.
No, it's more like my so background. My mom. She was in Ecuador a long time ago, and she moved to Italy a long time ago. And
Oh,
what happened was that we have family in Italy now, and we have family in Italy a long time ago as well. And then later on, she moved back to Ecuador, and then she moved on to New York. So it's like really going back and forth. So
damn.
somehow that name just ended up being in my name, if that makes sense, my last name.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Interesting. Super
Yep.
interesting.
Yep.
So, uh, what is it that you do, Mister Kev?
So right now I work for a hedge fund, and
Mm-hmm.
basically I do IT support for a hedge fund. I actually am a senior help desk
Mm-hmm.
for a hedge fund, and in that job I'm actually the right hand man of the CEO of the company. So I'm his personal IT guy, and I handle any IT issues that come in. We also have our own ticketing system, so we do handle IT issues with ticketing system and a bunch of other stuff. So
Hmm.
that's pretty much what I do. I mean, my background is very unique because I work for the CEO, and I'm the only one that does that. A bunch of other people don't do that. Like we have our own team and everything, but for the most part, I'm more in charge of the CEO. So like if he could email me on the weekend, and I will probably respond to him. You know.
Oh.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
Interesting. It's a job that demands a lot.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So basically, like if he has an issue that is like, oh my, I'm locked out of my account, or my computer's not working, or I can't get to this or that, I'm on speed dial. He's gonna call me.
Mm.
That's what I signed up for. So I work for the CEO, and I work for a bunch of other important people. So not only him, I work for the CFO as well, the CIO, and the COO, all the important CCCC basically of
Uh-huh.
the company. So all those
Mm.
people call me for IT issues and stuff like that. So typically I handle all their issues. They used to email or message our team.
Mhm.
That was before I got hired. So they used to email our team, and what happens is they would email. So we have an office in Dallas, so they would email Dallas, and then they would handle the issues and stuff like that. That was
Yeah.
before, but now that I got hired, and I'm in this job. I've been in this job for over a year now.
Mhm.
They asked me to handle all those things, so I'm responsible for anything that happens to the CEO and the technical stuff. I
Mhm.
take care of it, and even the videos, like they have video conferencing stuff. Sometimes they do videos with Japan, with London, with other states, other countries. I'm in charge of all that, so I have to make sure that all that is working.
Mhm.
I like to test everything beforehand. So usually what I do is I go in to a conference room and test everything beforehand, just make sure everything's up and running and working, and then I have him come in the room and just I don't want to have any screw ups. It's gonna be very
Yeah. Yeah.
embarrassing for me to come in the room and nothing works. So I test everything beforehand. So
Mhm.
that's basically what I do. I mean, I do other stuff besides that. So I don't know if you want me to talk about the different technologies, but that's basically what I do with this with as my
Mhm.
primary job is I do executive support, if that's
Oh.
what you want to call
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
because it's a
Yeah.
hedge fund. So it's always C-level executives.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's crazy. That's insane. So for the listeners, like we're the people from IT, but like a lot of people are not from IT. So for somebody who's new to IT, what is a ticketing system?
So a ticketing system is an application or a website, basically. And basically you submit a request. So you submit a request for help. So what happens is a user or a person or a client they basically log into that website or go to that website. Think of it like logging into a self-service portal to help you out. So they log in and they put a request for help, and it could be anything. It's all IT related, obviously. So it could be anything like my mouse is not working, my computer is not working. I need help logging in. I can't log into my account. It could be anything. But basically,
Mhm.
it's a self-service portal where you put a request for help for IT issues, and that's what it is to make it, I guess, easy for everyone to understand. But that's
Mm.
basically what it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Hmm.
total sense now. Yeah. So, um, how does like how like for you, like, I mean, I know who you are, and like for I just it's more of like I want the people who are listening to this podcast, they to like understand what you do basically. So how does like you how does your channel basically work? Like what got you motivated to get that channel up and running?
Okay, yeah. I get what you're asking me now. Yeah, so
Hmm.
I have a YouTube channel. For anyone that doesn't know, I have a YouTube channel. So
Link in the description, guys. Go and subscribe.
yeah, so my channel is called Kevtech
Hmm.
space IT space support. So this is Kevtech IT support. You can put it all together one word or whatever. But basically, my channel is I'm basically I started the channel to help people get into IT, and that channel, that's basically what it is, to help you get a job in IT. It could be anything from help desk or IT support. And that's basically what it is. But I started that channel because when I first started IT, I knew nothing about IT. So my background is I have about over 12 years of restaurant experience. Just
Hmm.
a little bit about me, basically. I have over 12 years of restaurant experience. I did about 4 years in the NYPD
Hmm.
volunteer, and I
Wow.
did a bunch of other stuff as well. And I was stuck in restaurant for a little bit, and I didn't know what to do. So I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to get into IT, and I was struggling getting a job in IT. So the issue is when you I guess first land a job or try to get a job in IT, a lot of people have this misconception. They tell you just to get certified or do this or do that, but they don't give you a roadmap,
Right.
like a roadmap of how to actually get a job in IT. So I was frustrated with that. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just start a channel. And then slowly, little by little, the channel was progressing, and it's grown a lot bigger now. But that's why I started the channel. It's because no one has a roadmap on how
Yeah.
to start IT or get a job in IT. So my channel covers that. It covers a little bit of everything and what you should be focusing on if you're trying to land a job in IT. That's what it was for me. It was a struggle for me because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should work on. And then people don't tell you. There's no roadmap. There's no, like, no one gives you pointers or anything. There's no career advice at all whatsoever on this.
Yeah.
So that's why I started the channel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes total sense, man. That was actually one of the questions that I had. Like, what got you to IT, basically. So yeah, that explained both of them. So yeah, you said like you had experience of like 12 years of experience in restaurants, and then you did like 4 years of NYPD stuff. So how was the restaurant life like? What was it like?
Like my job experience, or
Yeah, just like job experience day to day. How was it?
oh, man, I got a lot of stories for that. But basically, for restaurant,
We
I
have a
worked in.
podcast for that.
Yeah. So basically, in a restaurant, I worked in a Mexican grill restaurant. That's just one of the places I worked. I'll go with that, I guess. And
Mhm.
basically, in that place, it's like your typical 9 to 5 job, and basically, you have to deal. You're a cashier. You deal with customers. You charge them. You make their food. So in that restaurant, I was in charge of making their food and charging them. So we would make we would make burritos, quesadillas, nachos, burrito bowls. So burrito bowl is basically like rice and beans, and rice,
Mhm.
black beans, and chicken or steak or whatever you want. So basically, that will be my typical day to job. I'll make whatever you want on the menu, and then I'll give it to you, and then you'll be on your way to go.
Damn.
Basically,
So
yeah. So
after this pandemic gets over, I'm coming to your place for some burritos, bro.
yeah, that was one of my that was one of my jobs, and then I moved into into frozen yogurt place. So I worked in the frozen yogurt place after that. So
Okay.
Yeah, and
Interesting.
the frozen yogurt place is interesting because you would actually make yogurt. So you would
Hmm.
pour yogurt in a machine, and then you would mix ingredients and make yogurt, and then you would make the toppings as well. So like if someone is asking for pineapple, you would actually go ahead and grab a pineapple and cut it, and actually
Hmm.
put it on a tray and have them serve themselves. So it's more like you serve yourself, but we refill the stock or the front of the restaurant, if that makes sense. So basically, you get your own
Oh, okay,
cup,
okay. Yeah, yeah,
and you serve yourself, and then we it's like pinkberry almost, but this is not
yeah,
pinkberry. And
yeah.
basically, you serve yourself, and you get whatever ingredients you want. So I would be slicing strawberries,
Hmm.
slicing mangoes, slicing pineapples, slicing a bunch of different things, depending what you want.
Damn. And then what time did you work this? Like what time in life? Like what from from age what to what?
That was back, say, 2012. Yeah, that was 2012. Yeah, that was
Hmm.
2012. Yeah. So anyone
Like
that's wondering how old I am, I'm 30. So that
uh-huh.
you could do the math. It's 2012.
8 years
Um.
ago, 22.
Mhm. Yep.
Damn.
So that
And
was
then so before that, you were working in a Mexican restaurant before that, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
I have
you
3 years.
how old were you when you started working?
How old was I when I started working?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, to be honest with you, I started when I was 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm. So that's not that was
Like
my first
in
job was
mind, like
was in
what
restaurant.
gigs, what kind of like stuff? Because a lot of like I mean, just to give you like context, it's like a lot of my listeners are gonna be from India,
Mhm.
and that's the reason why I'm trying to like understand and try to like make it as accessible and much more understandable for audience from that region as well. You know, if that makes sense to you.
No, no, I definitely get it. So in the United States, I'm from New York. It's a little different
Yeah.
over here. But
Yeah, yeah, it's totally different. Like we for us, it's the concept of starting a job starts after like let's say 21 or something like that. You know, it's not even like we don't even do any other jobs. Like the culture is so different because the culture over there is like parents take care of you to for you to go to like school, college, whatever it is, and that's like and then after like let's say you finish college, that's when you start maybe you would look into like dabbling into the workspace, either that or you try to work either you want to do that or either it's like you do your masters or whatever it is. I mean, you can say whatever like privilege or whatever it is, but like it is what it is. That's how the culture is. 90% of, I mean, like a lot of people in India, that's how it is. Urban towns or whatever it is, that's how it is.
no, I totally agree with you. So with me, it's more like I wasn't I was brought up with nothing. So
Hmm.
basically, it's like I got the working mentality from my parents, so they brought me up to work. So I started like at 9 years old when I was working. I did like the grocery bags, like I'll put the
Hmm.
bags for everyone.
Oh
Pack
yeah,
the
yeah.
bags. That's what I did. I did that in the supermarket. So I did that when I was 9. That was my first job. If you wanna count it as
Wow.
my first job, since that's not legal technically.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah.
what happens is to tell you the story about that is they signed a waiver form for my parents so I could
Uh-huh.
actually work there.
Oh,
Otherwise, you get sued for that. You can't do that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
So
was it like a mom and pop shop or how was it?
no, no, it's a big supermarket. It's a very big supermarket and have a chain of supermarkets.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so I worked there. We got the legal approval for that because obviously you can't be 9
Mhm.
years old doing that.
Yeah, that's
Saying
child labor.
yeah, exactly. That's not allowed. So, um, I would work with my mom. It was interesting. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah, she would be like right next to me, and because
Oh,
they signed a
that's
legal form for that. Yeah, so that's basically what I did when I was 9, and then later on in my years, I worked a lot of different jobs. It just changes.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so and I did that. I did that. I was packing bags for people, and then because they see me, they felt bad for me, so they will give me a tip. Basically, that was when because what happened was we had to pay bills, and we didn't have money to pay for the bills,
Yeah.
so I worked that job to help with the bills.
Wow, wow. That's really, really inspiring. Like
Mhm.
from like super humble beginnings. You came from like super humble beginnings. Like you came like I assume you came when you were like really young to the States, or were you born in the States?
No, no, I'm born and raised in New York.
Okay, you're born and raised in New York, and like your parents are first generation immigrants.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so that's what like I that's really inspiring. Like you know, from coming from that kind of a background and to where you are now, that's really inspiring.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, go on.
I was gonna say that I'm the first person in my family and the family of our family to have a high school diploma and actually go to school.
Wow, wow,
Hmm.
that's super. But like for me, it's like my parents went to college. My grandparents were into like he was going to college, but then there was like a partition, like the separation of the country, and India and Pakistan came into the picture, and then after that, he got enrolled into the army and all that stuff. So it was like, but like my whatever ancestry, they always believed in like education and all that stuff. So it's to see someone who is just the first generation person who's getting into like who got his first mm, even high school, like your generation one for your high school. And I assume like once you have kids and all, you want your kids to go to college and all that stuff. I mean, well, college is pretty much dead nowadays, but that's a different thing. But like it's so different, like when you see culturally, uh, you know, because this like going to college and everything, it's so traditional, and like versus when it's America, it's so different. When you have you can just buy with your skills, and if you work towards a goal, you can make make it to wherever you want. That that is so super inspiring, man.
No, I agree with you. This is the a lot of people don't tell me this, but this is the land of opportunity. You have so many
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
There's just so many things you could learn. There's so many things out there that you could study and learn, and you can make your own career path no matter
yeah,
what. There's a possibility for anything. You just got to do it. That's the thing.
yeah, yeah. It's so much, man. I feel so blessed, like just like being in a country like this and getting a chance, getting these chance. Like uh, I can't even explain like how much I feel, how much it means to me. Like just to be here and just to have an access to that chance of getting into whatever I want, and I like if I see it, I can achieve it, kind of like mentality, you know.
Definitely, I definitely, and I tell people like you could do whatever you want in life, and do what makes you happy. And at the end of the day, it's for you, man. Make yourself happy. Do what you like. Do what you love, and it's all about you. You're like it's all about you as a person. Like you, as a person, like you have so much potential as a person that it's not even funny. Like you could do whatever you want as long as you set your mind to it.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true.
Hmm.
Yeah, so when you were working like restaurant jobs, what was the interesting stories, man? Give it to me. Give it to me.
So someone ordered tell you a story. Someone
Mhm,
ordered a quesadilla. So you hear the
mhm.
word quesadilla. What a quesadilla is, I think you know what that is. I
Yeah,
hope you
yeah,
do.
yeah.
So someone ordered a quesadilla without cheese.
Mhm. That
No
is
cheese.
the stupidest thing I've heard. That is the stupidest thing I have ever heard.
Yeah. So they like, can I get a quesadilla with no cheese? And I was like,
Yeah.
so you just
So
want
for
a
yeah,
flat
for
tortilla?
yeah, let me just explain it for the listeners. Quesadilla is basically a tortilla or like a roti in that we have in India, and it's on top. It has like a cheese, like a layer of cheese, and probably like if you want, you can have like beef chunks or whatever it is, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much it, right? If I'm not wrong.
No, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
for someone to ask for that's kind of weird.
yeah. And then so for somebody to just ask quesadilla with no cheese is just like for somebody to just ask like a toasted tortilla. That's it. That's so stupid. That's so weird.
Yeah, that happened to me. So I was just like, so it was me and my coworker. So my coworker was
Uh,
just staring at me, and I was just staring at him. I'm like, so do you want a tortilla with nothing on it? Is that what you want? And they're like, no, no, I want a quesadilla. I'm like, what? I'm
yeah. So like,
confused.
what do you want? Like in the quesadilla? Exactly.
Yeah, so I was confused. So then what happened was, and like, and I just gave them a tortilla, and I flattened the tortilla with the quesadilla press, and then that's it. And just gave it to them like that, and with nothing on it. It was so weird. It was so awkward.
And what
Yeah,
he did, he just thanked you and left after that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is
It was really
weird, man.
weird.
Weird.
Very, very weird.
Yeah, America is a weird place, man. You see a lot of these people over here, especially in New York.
Yeah, that was one story. Another one, another. I'll give you another one. Another one
Yeah.
is someone ordered someone. This is actually funny. This is real. This is a funny. This is really funny.
Uh huh.
So this is not a dumb story. It's actually funny. It's a funny story. So
Yeah,
my
yeah.
my coworker, he speaks Spanish, and you
Mhm.
got to be careful sometimes what you say, because some people know what you're talking about when you're talking a different language.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is like older lady that was asking for food, but she was like a like, not to say anything bad, but she was a pain. She was a pain to deal with. So she orders the food, and you're serving, seeing her in the line, right? She ordered a bowl with rice and beans. That's fine. With the black beans,
Mhm.
it's fine. But they say, no, 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 no. I want a little bit of that. I want less rice. No, no, no. I want more. No, no, no. This is too little. No, no, no. Add a little more. Add a little more. No, no, no. And then you give the black beans. No, no, no. I don't want it. I don't want to drench in water. No, no, no. I want you to give me less beans.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
don't want the beans on top of it. I want the beans on the side of the plate, like that. It's
Oh
like
my god.
I don't want the steak on I don't want the steak on top of it. I want it on the side. It's just
Yeah.
like that. And then we're serving her. Well, actually, I'm not serving her. Like, my friend
Uh-huh.
is serving her, and he speaks Spanish, and
Yeah.
he's serving, and then we get to the finish line, and we're charging her, and
Uh-huh.
then he says in Spanish, he's like, this person is the B word,
Okay.
basically, but
Uh-huh.
in
Yeah,
Spanish.
you can swear. This is good. It's okay. We swear in my
Yeah,
my podcast. We don't care.
yeah. So this person's a bitch, basically, but
Uh-huh.
in Spanish,
Yeah.
and then he's like, he said, this old lady's a bitch in Spanish. That's what he said, basically, because she's an older lady, and then he said it in Spanish, and then she walks away. She comes back, and she says, "I want to speak to your manager. I know what you said in Spanish." And then when the manager comes, and she said, "I want to report this guy because he called me a bitch, and he called me a bitch in Spanish. I know what that word means. I speak Spanish." But the problem is that she did not look like she spoke Spanish. She looked like a
Right.
regular, she's like a white Caucasian lady, basically.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
didn't look
yeah.
like she spoke Spanish at all, and she actually speaks perfect Spanish. I was like, "What
Damn.
the?" And then she said that to him, and his jaw dropped, like his jaw, like his whole face changed. It went like he
Yeah.
got super red, and his jaw dropped, and he's like, "Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't think she spoke Spanish." And the manager is like, manager gave her the food for free because
Yeah,
it was
obviously,
bad.
like, you have to give them food for free. Fucking hell. Like,
Yeah,
it's just next level.
yeah, exactly. So she said that, and he said that, and that ended up being a shit show, basically.
Damn.
Yeah. So just another
That's
story.
That's insane. I have like so like with what's it called, like Spanish, like I have my own story with Spanish. So the word camina basically means, in Spanish, it means to walk,
Hmm.
and the word camina in Hindi means you're an asshole, or
What
you're,
the?
yeah, it basically means you're an asshole, or you're blood sucking leech.
Interesting.
So yeah, when I heard the first time, I was going out for a walk, and I see these I think Spaniards, basically. I don't know what like Hispanic people, basically.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know what ethnicity they were, but like, yeah. So they were going around, and they were talking about something, and then they started saying "camina, camina," and I was like, what? For somebody who doesn't know about it, but like, they're talking in their own language, but like, they say "camina, camina," and I'm like, are you talking to me? Like, are you saying this shit to me? Like, I was like, what's going on? So it's funny. It's funny, like how different words mean different things in different languages. I mean, sorry, how same words mean different things in different languages. It's so weird. Like when this happened, like, and then I was talking to my friend who's a Mexican guy, and I spoke to him. I told I his name is Chris.
Hmm.
So I said I went to Chris. I'm like, "Hey, yo, tell me what the mean what does this camina mean? Like walk." So I'm like, "That's it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, that's so weird." And then he's like, "What do you think it was?" I was like, "I don't know." Like, but like I don't know in Spanish, but like it means an asshole in Hindi or Urdu. And I was like, and then he's like, "What the fuck?" I didn't even know that shit. And then he started going around like to brown kids and started saying "Camina" just to piss them off. Because it's one of those things like you've heard it in your house, like you've heard it somewhere in your house, like your parents be saying something about somebody, and it's so weird, man. It's so weird.
That's funny though you say that because I there are some words. I'm not sure there's any words in Indian, but there's some words that they mean there are different dialects and they mean different things. So like different parts of the world, a Spanish word might be something different in another country that's Spanish. If that makes sense. So the
Whoa.
Spanish is might be so like there's Spanish. The Spanish is the Puerto Rican Spanish is not the same as Ecuadorian Spanish, or the Ecuadorian Spanish is not the same as Mexican Spanish. If that makes sense.
Hmm.
So they're all so they mean different things. Like if you say I'll give you an example. Like for Mexican people, they use different slang and different words. So
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
are you hear a Mexican guy would say like pinche way, you know, like he talks
Uh-huh.
like that. Like in
Oh
Spanish, like
yeah.
I don't talk like that, but like people in Mexico would talk like that. Some of them, not all of them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
like
I know.
gangsters and stuff like that would
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So
I've
just
heard that from my friend, and and exactly the same accent and everything, the same dialect and everything. So like I am even in my last job at Starbucks, my manager, she was I mean sorry, my supervisor, she's from Puerto Rico, and she was telling me like the Puerto Rican Spanish is different. The same thing that you said, like it's different things, different words that these guys have. Like it's basically the language the same, but like the slangs are different. If
yeah.
that makes sense, yeah.
No. You're right. So whatever I could say something in Spanish, and it could be that word for me, but then someone else, it might be something bad for someone else that speaks Spanish in a different country. Might mean
Yeah,
something
like
else.
it's totally not normal for them to use it in a conversation, but like for something else, for somebody from a different country, it's a different word. Like I know for a fact, like I'm not supposed to say puta madre and all that shit in front of like Mexican people or like Spaniards basically because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
you're right.
motherfucker and like bitch and all that shit.
That's true.
And
That is true.
so yeah, like I understand that. I learned it the hard way because this bastard told me that okay, you go ahead and go to this girl. She's a good looking girl, and I'm talking about Chris. Okay, he's a
Mhm.
good this is a good looking girl, and he's like, go ahead and go and tell her puta madre. And then I was like, what does that mean? And he said, you're beautiful in Spanish. And then me being me, the eighth grader, innocent kid, gets up, goes to this girl, and goes ahead and tells her "puta madre," and then she goes, "You fucking asshole!" started She started cursing at me so hard, like, oh my god,
Funny.
this was so bad, man. This is so bad. Chris, if you're listening to this, you're an asshole. But I love you, bro. But yeah, this was fun. So yeah, um, from restaurants to NYPD. Everybody's heard that. How was that?
Oh, that was another story.
Oh,
That's interesting.
oh yeah.
I did the academy training, so you have to do like some sort of physical training, and then you do you have to go to like a class and you have to learn
Mhm.
like the laws of New York basically, because some things you can't do. It's not it's not legal. So there's certain
Mhm.
things you could do, you can't do. You have to figure out the laws of your state. Every so the states in New York or the laws in New York are different from another
Mhm.
state. So you
Hmm.
gotta actually learn the laws of your state, and then you learn the Amanda rights and a bunch of
Mhm.
other stuff. So you have to learn how to pronounce, how to talk, how to say that when you arrest someone, blah blah blah, and
Mhm.
it varies from state to state. But New York, you have to do the laws, then you do self defense training, and
Mhm.
then you take a law handwritten exam, and then when you
Mhm.
pass that, then you graduate, just like the police academy, but this is volunteer. Then you
Mhm.
graduate, and then you could become a volunteer police officer.
Wow.
That's basically what it is. So.
So when you're doing volunteer work, you're patrolling on the streets of New York, or how does it work?
So for that, yes, you are actually with a real cop patrolling the streets, and you don't carry a gun. You just carry handcuffs, and you could arrest anyone you want, as long as they're actually, you could arrest someone as long as if they're doing something wrong. Obviously, you could arrest them. If
Mhm.
they're not doing anything at all, you cannot just randomly arrest someone.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's
work that
just
way.
like violation of power.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you could arrest people, but you're actually with a real police officer, and you're patrolling the area, and you're basically you have handcuffs. You don't have a gun per
Uh-huh.
se, because you're a volunteer. They're not gonna give you a gun. So
Mhm.
you get a police baton, you get a flashlight, you get the I guess the Batman utility belt.
Mhm.
You get a bunch of stuff that you carry around with you. Is like probably like 40 pounds of equipment. It's very heavy, the
Damn.
radio and
Did
everything.
not know that.
Yeah, so that's why you when you see a police officer running, they struggle to run because all
Yeah,
their
yeah,
equipment
yeah.
is extremely heavy. It's not just like 5 pounds or whatever.
I thought it
It's
was the
very heavy.
donuts, man. I thought it was the donuts.
No, actually, the equipment is extremely heavy. So basically, you're like dragging your leg with 45 pounds of equipment, and
Damn.
you're running around with that. So it's super duper heavy. And basically, you would patrol the area. You have the ability to arrest anyone that's doing suspicious activity. I was hanging out with a police officer, and we would patrol the area. And for me, one time we arrested a homeless guy
Mhm.
because he was drunk and he was fighting everyone. So we had no choice but to arrest him.
Right.
That was very interesting because the guy smelled really bad. But
Mhm.
so
Well.
we arrested him, and we got him in the car and everything. Another time we arrested someone that was on drugs. Um,
Wow.
it was on cocaine. When you're
Oh.
on cocaine, you turn to Superman.
Oh
So
yeah.
he was Superman. So we had to have like 8 police officers come and arrest him because it was just too many. It was too hard to arrest him. He wouldn't not cooperate. He was like
Wow.
Superman. So when you take cocaine, you turn to Superman apparently.
Mhm.
So basically, they had to put leg shackles. I'm not sure where. I'm not sure one police officer had leg shackles. I don't know why he had it for some reason.
Yeah,
Um,
that's so weird. Like he had leg shackles on him. That's like it's like a
yeah,
norm. He probably sees a lot of coke addicts. I assume.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have that, but he had that, and he arrested him, and then because he kept kicking everyone, so like what, let's
Yeah.
just put leg shackles on him, and then we did, and then
Hmm.
you would see like if you go to like Rikers Island, you'll see leg shackles, but not like in the police department, you won't see
Uh
that,
huh.
Rikers Island, that makes sense.
Uh huh.
So regular police officers, they don't carry that. He had that for some reason. This guy has too much. This guy was like Batman. He had like 1,000 handcuffs, leg shackles, and a bunch of other stuff. So
Okay.
anyway, we arrested him, and he stopped kicking, and then we got him in the car. So basically, the guy was like Superman. Like
Uh huh.
he was like on steroids when he wasn't. But it's just like the drugs. When you take drugs, that does that to you. So that's basically
Uh
what
huh.
happened with him. We arrested him, but it was good, man. It was a fun 4 years of experience. I did a little bit of everything. And fun fact for people that live in New York, and
Hmm.
fun fact to people that are listening to this, if you do volunteer police work, they actually give you a stipend for
Okay.
college. So if you
Wow.
go to college, if you want to be a police officer, they give you a stipend for that. So they give you money to pay for some of your college, and they give you college credits too.
Wow. Wow.
Um,
That's awesome.
the third thing is that if you do volunteer police work,
Hmm.
you are immediately on top of the list. If you take an exam, how
Hmm.
they have like a waiting list for cops. So if there's like a bunch of cops taking the exam, the exam to be a police officer,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
are you are on top of the waiting list since you
Mm.
work volunteer.
So.
And that's another fun fact. Another fun fact is you also get to pick what precinct you want to work for. So
Mhm,
if you get the job and you get hired
mhm,
as a regular police officer, they randomly assign you the precinct you have to work for. But
mhm,
if you do volunteer work, you have the privilege to pick whatever borough you want to work for.
mhm.
So you could
So,
work in your
so,
local
so
area
for,
if you want.
for a lot of people, the word precinct is new. What does that mean?
Precinct is the police station. Basically,
Okay.
there are police stations around New York.
Mhm,
You could work you could work in your area where you live. Like if you live in Brooklyn, you could work in that police station, that area that has that police station. So you could work in your local area, which
mhm.
I don't recommend. Otherwise, people will
Okay.
know where you live and stuff like that. I don't recommend. I recommend you work in a different area or a different borough. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, so that's a little bit of that. It's
I mean,
interesting.
I thought it would be like better to just like work in your area so that you can just walk back home.
I wouldn't recommend that because they would know where you live. What if you arrest somebody that they
Oh
what if
yeah,
you
yeah,
arrest
yeah,
somebody and then they know where you live? It's gonna be
yeah.
that's
I
gonna be a problem.
understand now. Yeah,
So
the wrong people or wrong place, and then they could probably end up to your house. Like I understand now. Yeah.
yeah, so you don't want to do that. So usually what they do is for police officers they randomly assign them a borough or a location. Like we have Brooklyn, the
Yeah.
Bronx, we have Queens. So if you're from Brooklyn, they'll assign you Queens. If you're from Queens, they assign you Brooklyn. If you're from Manhattan, they'll probably put you in Brooklyn. So that's what they
Mhm.
do. They move you around because they're gonna move you around because they don't want you to have issues or trouble, or they don't want you to actually deal with criminals that they don't know where you live and stuff like that. It becomes a threat. So that's why they,
Mhm.
they do it that way, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Yep.
So with the volunteering scene, is it like is it, or are all the volunteer cops given assigned to like a real cop?
Yes. So you will work with police officers in your team,
Mhm.
but also you will work with real police. You will work with volunteer police officers, and you will work with real cops. Both. You work with
Mhm.
both. And
Mhm.
also for people that don't know about volunteer, it's called auxiliary. So it's called NYPD auxiliary. You can look that up.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
that's what the name is, NYPD auxiliary. So auxiliary, they are called auxiliary, NYPD auxiliary. So what they do is they work with police officers, but also
Mhm.
they also they're in charge of crowd patrols, like when it was like huge crowds and stuff like that.
Mhm.
We're in charge of putting that, like we're in charge of barricading stuff. Like if there's like a concert that's gonna happen, we're in charge of setting up the activities for that. Like by that I mean like we're in charge of like setting up the barricades so cars don't pass in that certain street. So like if you
Mhm.
if you reserve a street or something like that, we would barricade all that and block all that so then no one else could come in and go
Mhm.
to that street, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, yeah.
we're in charge of that. We're in charge of events too. So like if there's like a 4th of July, you would see probably volunteer police officers there.
Mhm.
If there is a Christmas party for the cops or there's a Christmas party for the governor or the senator, you will probably see somebody from auxiliary there as well. So we're everywhere
Hmm.
basically. Yeah,
That's very interesting.
yeah.
I
Like
thought it was like mostly like real cops doing that stuff, but now I know like it's volunteers that are doing this stuff.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a combination of both. So most of them do
Uh-huh.
that. You would see that in that environment in New York. We do that. We do that a lot. So I stopped doing that. I don't do that anymore. But
Mhm.
um, that's basically what it is. Or basically what they volunteer in events and stuff like that.
Wow. Wow. That is so
And
cool. That is so cool.
it's volunteer, so you don't get paid. By the way, as people are
Yeah,
asking
yeah,
me.
yeah.
People are like,
I
yeah.
was gonna have a question about it. Like, how do you get by? Like, when you were just doing volunteer stuff, what was the second job like?
Oh, I was working the restaurant job,
Oh, okay.
The Mexican
So,
restaurant job while being volunteer. I did both.
oh, okay. So with volunteer work, like, what got you there? Like, what was it? What was it like? What got you to, um, like, what got you interested in doing like police work?
Oh,
Were you planning to become a cop or something?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, okay.
I ended up going to John Jay College, and I was studying criminal justice. And then I did the patrol for volunteer for the police officering, the police officering thing, basically the police officer thing. And
Uh-huh.
I didn't like it, so
Hmm.
I ended up just switching over to IT after that. Well, actually, I switched. I switched back to restaurant, then I switched over to IT. That's basically what
Hmm.
happened. And I didn't finish college, by the way, for anyone that's wondering. I didn't. I'm a college dropout.
Okay.
Mhm.
So like, what was like the part of the cop job or like the police job that you didn't like? What was it?
It just wasn't for me. It was too much. It was too dangerous.
Hmm.
Too dangerous. There's a lot of stress and too dangerous. Like I don't recommend. Like you're risking your life every day. You get shot, you get stabbed, something could happen to you. So it's
Hmm.
too risky. So I would stay away
Hmm.
from that. I don't want to. If I was right now, even right now, what's going on right now? Like it's right now is not a good time to be a cop. You know that. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's just really really risky right now. Even before that, it was very risky. It's just that's why I left that and I went straight into IT. And I went straight to IT for other reasons as well because
Hmm.
I was always good with fixing computers. By the way,
Yeah.
I used to like break and fix stuff when I was a little kid. Just
Hmm.
that and then when I got the job in IT, everyone in my family was like, "This is the perfect thing for you because this is you always good with break. You always used to break stuff when you were a little kid.
Hmm.
You were always curious about stuff, and you would break it and try to fix it. So I'm
Hmm.
glad you got a job in IT because that actually was for you. So
Nice.
and that's
Nice.
what happened. Hmm.
So like, were you when you were going to college for like criminal justice and all that stuff? So was it just to become like a detective, or was it just to become a cop?
No, it was just to become a cop. I wanted
Mm.
to become a cop, but then I did the volunteer because I wanted some real life experience from it. So
Uh
that's
huh.
why I did the volunteer thing. I wanted to know how it was. So I did that, and I'm like, this is not for me. And I'm like, oh well, I guess I'll call it quits and go back to restaurant and do something else. And then I went to restaurant, and then I got into
And this
IT.
is how old were you when you were doing all this stuff?
It's like 18, 17.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
You have to be volunteer. You have to be 18, I believe. Yeah, 18. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, 18.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. So
Mhm.
you this is like like freshly got into college and you were doing volunteer stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was doing both.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
That's interesting. That is so
Yeah, I was
cool.
doing both. And you get a lot of perks. Well, you get a lot of perks when you work volunteer. So like
Hmm.
you get like I said, you get college credits. They help you pay some of your college.
Uh huh.
And if you go get if you work for the NYPD too, like volunteer, you get
Hmm.
discounts too. So
Oh.
like if you go for Starbucks, you get free coffee.
Wow.
If you go to get something to eat, like in Chipotle, for example, they give you free food. So there's benefits to it.
Well. Hmm.
Yeah.
Free
Mhm.
food,
Yeah.
free coffee,
Hmm.
and we know Kevin runs on coffee.
Yeah. Exactly. Love my coffee.
Oh yeah,
So it's interesting.
yeah. That's so cool, man. That I did not know that like that you guys get food. So basically, you're like superheroes that in that sense. Like you get taken care of by the community.
Yeah, we get taken care of by by the city and the state. They really take care of the police officers, no matter what. If you're a volunteer or not, they do
Hmm.
take care of you. And
Hmm.
the probably the best experience I ever had, if I were to go back to the police, was it Meals on Wheels.
Hmm.
Basically,
Oh yeah,
basically
I've
what
heard
that
of that.
is basically what you do is you're taking time from your day on Thanksgiving
Uh huh.
and you're giving food to the elderly people.
Mm.
It's very, very interesting. So what they do is the police what they do is they have like these clubs or committees and they give you they send food over to the precinct or your police station and then you go ahead and disperse it. You give it to the elderly people. So you knock on their door and you give them free food on
Mm.
Thanksgiving Day. It's
Wow.
really nice. It's
Wow.
very nice.
That's like that's the beauty of like United States. Like they really do care about like as much as you want to say like they don't care, but yeah, like sometimes they do. They do their part and like these small nitty gritty things. Yeah, it's a good place.
Yeah, I actually like I really like that. So because you meet older or elderly people, and basically you're giving them food, and
Yeah,
you spend you spend a little bit a few minutes talking to them and giving them
yeah. It
food. That's kind of cool actually.
yeah, it makes their day. Like
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly. You don't get really you don't really get a lot of visitors, so it's just
yeah, yeah.
It
Like
definitely makes them happy.
so, after like 4 years of doing police work, what got you to IT?
I like I said, it was I worked in restaurant, and then when I actually stopped working in restaurant and I ended up going into I went to a technical training school. It's a school in New York, by the way.
Uh huh.
Um, it's technical training school. It's absolutely free.
Okay.
Um, I went to that school because I actually wanted to get some sort of education somewhere. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I can't be working restaurant forever. You know, I got to do
Yeah, yeah.
something different. So
So like my one question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
mhm.
like the one question I wanted to ask is uh, like what got you to like who guided you to like go to like a IT school, like a technical training school, or any of these like trade schools, basically. If I may say, these are like trade schools, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that school was recommended to me by my friend. I have a friend that recommended me that school, basically.
Oh. Hmm.
Yeah,
So
so my friend recommend he's not from here.
okay.
He's from Washington DC. He's not from here.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have a friend in Washington DC, and he recommended me that school. He said you should go to some sort of technical training school, and I went to that school, and I found I it was like it was like a school of opportunity, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It was insane.
Mm,
What options they had, if that makes sense. It was a lot of
mm.
stuff. So
And this is all like you said. It's free. It's like state sponsored, education kind of like situation.
yes, it's absolutely free. All you gotta do is just go in. So basically, it's a school. You go to the school, and what they have you do is they have you take a test just to see
Mm,
what your IQ is and how you do. So they give you an English test, a math test, and they
right.
give you a test, English, math, and they give you mathematical tests as well. It's all three, just to
Mhm.
see where you are at your skill level as a person. Then
Mhm.
after that, after you take the test, doesn't matter if you fail or pass. You just gotta sign up for it. After you take tests, they take any student they take students that they take students with U.S. citizenship, with green card, no paper, nothing. Like yeah, they do all that. They take everyone. So
Mhm.
basically, you go to that school, and the first thing they're gonna do is gonna ask you like you have to take this test, and I'm like, well, I gotta take this test. Like, oh no, is this just to measure your skill level? I'm like, oh okay. So is this if I fail, can I still go to the school? I'm like, yeah, you can still. Oh okay, good. So I took the
That's wild.
test, and then I took the test. I took it, and then after that, I went to the school, and then when I went to the school, I learned that this is a school that does a little bit of everything. So they have like to be a nurse. So if you want to be a nurse, you could be a nurse. They have to be a mechanic. They also cover CompTIA A plus, CompTIA Network Plus, CompTIA Security Plus,
Mhm.
and they also cover the classes for it. So if you want to take a class in A plus, you can take a class in A plus. If you want to take a class for Network Plus, you can take a class for Network Plus.
Wow.
And they also cover your GED. So if you want to get a GED, like you didn't go to school, you missed out on your high school diploma, they will
Yeah.
help you with your GED.
Hmm.
They also do English class. So there's a class for English. If you don't speak English at all, they'll
Mhm.
teach you how to speak English. So there's a lot of opportunities in that school, and it's free. So
Wow. Wow.
all you gotta do is just literally step in and walk in and come in every day. That's all you gotta do. You worry about your public transportation, and that's it. But everything else is free. The class is free. The courses or the class, yeah, the teachers and stuff. They're absolutely free. They teach you stuff,
Wow.
and it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's really interesting when you say that. Like, for like a lot of people, they don't know about like the CompTIA stuff. Like CompTIA is really relevant in the United States. Not really that much out. Like in any country outside, it's not that much. Like for me, I never had a concept about CompTIA. Like CompTIA, when I came here, I was like, wait, what? CompTIA is so big. Like for me, it was just like Cisco or something like that. Like with that's the reason why a lot of people from these networking backgrounds or IT backgrounds or whatever it is, uh they're from India, are just introduced to just maybe some coding and all that stuff, or Linux and all that stuff. So that's the reason why we have a lot of like these really brilliant people coming from the countries. So Yeah, like so what I would like to know is what were your classes like, and did they work around like your schedule, or you could do your own schedule, and how was that? How was it like?
No, so they had a that's a good question. They had they had a schedule for the morning, then they had one for the afternoon, and then they had one for the night. So you pick one of the schedules, and it's
Okay.
Monday through Friday. So you'd either do the morning shift, the
Mhm.
mid shift, or the late shift, if that makes sense. So
Uh-huh.
you work on that schedule, and it's actually like school. So it's
Yeah.
actually 8 a.m. till 2:30 p.m. I believe, like school, like a school session. So it's 2:30
Mhm.
p.m. and then
Wow.
you leave after that. So that's what it is. And you have a lunch break at 12. So it's
Mhm.
like going to school basically. You're going
Wow.
to school. So I was doing that. I was doing that, and I was actually doing that for full time. Actually,
Oh.
I didn't work at that time. Doing that
Oh.
full time.
Mhm.
And they were doing A plus, so they cover A plus. So I have a teacher there. He's still there, by the way. He's very, very professional. He is very. He motivated me too to start teaching on YouTube as well. He's one
Uh-huh.
of my motivators as well.
Right.
He actually is really good at teaching, and he goes over PowerPoint slides, and he talks about CompTIA Plus. And he covers all the chapters, and he actually makes you do labs as well. So if you want to make
Wow.
a lab, he actually shows you how to do it, and he makes you run the lab. So you're basically assigning your own desktop. It's like
Mhm.
a school environment. So you basically assign your own desktop, and you're making virtual labs inside that desktop, and you're doing Windows. Well, at that
Mm.
time, obviously there's not Windows 10 at that time, so you're doing
Yeah, yeah.
Windows 7,
This
and
is
you're
back when?
2014, no, 2013, something like that. 2013, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So it's way back.
Yeah, so
So
like
basically,
7, I think. So Windows 7, I think that time.
yeah, yeah, Windows
Yeah.
7. So we're
Yeah.
doing Windows 7, and we're actually doing virtual machines on Windows 7,
Mhm.
and we're doing virtual machines on Server 2012 R2. And
Mm.
basically, we're creating folders, we're adding users to groups, we're doing Active Directory, we're doing a bunch of stuff basically. And
Wow.
I did that with A plus. And
Mhm.
then after that, if you do really well, you get a recommendation by your
Mhm.
teacher.
Mhm.
So your teacher will recommend you.
Mhm.
So he recommended me
Uh-huh.
to my first job in IT, which was the DOE, working as a
Uh-huh.
field technician. And they interviewed me. They interviewed me in the
Wow.
school I'm in. So literally, the manager from that company came to the school and interviewed me, and I was
Wow.
dressed and everything. They interviewed me, and then I actually they were so impressed by me that they hired me, and that's basically how it started in IT.
Wow.
Hmm.
So that's basically like a campus placements that we have like in India. We have this thing called campus placements. It's basically before you get your degree, you get a job. So in that sense, like we had like companies like Amazon, companies like Deloitte, companies like Accenture, Capgemini, these big companies that came to our college, and they would offer us, they would take our interviews, take our whatever aptitude test, mock test, whatever it is, and I'm sorry, just take like aptitude test and all that stuff, and then we would get interviewed by the panel that was coming from the company, and it would be like hiring managers, it would be like HRs, it would be what's it called, uh the technical recruiters and all those people. They would come to the college and sit down and work it out with you. Like how much do you know, whatever it is, yada yada yada, and let you know about the situation and ask for proper answers. If you can answer that, you get a job. If you don't, you know.
For resume, I had a resume that was restaurant experience with IT lab experience on my resume.
Hmm.
That was my first resume, and it was a little it looked a little weird, a little crappy.
Yeah.
Back then for me, no, for me it didn't look that good. But
Hmm.
they liked my resume for some reason, and I ended up getting hired. So.
No, I mean
Hmm.
it's like you need to understand. Like I love the line that you say that that you can teach IT to anybody, but you can't teach customer service. So like the same way that you can teach. anybody, anything. It's just the intent that the person should have. Like if you show that intent in that interview, that oh, I'm open to new ideas, I'm open to learning new stuff, doesn't matter, you know. uh,
That's exactly what happened to me. So I went to the interview. The interview was the interview. He met the manager. He interviewed me. He's like, why should I hire you if you have no experience in IT? And I told him, like, I have customer service experience. You could see on my resume. It's restaurant experience. I know it's not IT, but it's the same
mhm,
thing. You should be able to translate that over to IT.
yeah.
He's like, what do you mean by that? I know how to deal with people. I know how to deal with customers that are having a bad day. They're having a and I did like I did like my experience basically for my job. Like, so basically they're having a bad day, they come to relieve some stress by ordering some food and talking to me, and I do that. I talk to every customer that comes in, and basically they tell me how their day was going, and they tell me how the day was, how it went,
Mhm.
and they like talking to me, and we talk back and forth, and I charge them the food, and then that's it, and that's basically what it is. And then they're like, I like talking to you, Kevin, because I could vent and tell you about my job in the office, and
Yeah.
I feel better after talking to you. So, and I think that's the same thing with IT. You just got to know how to talk to people, and you have to know how to empathize with them.
Mhm.
And then that's how I coordinated it with my job interview.
Wow.
And the guy really liked me. The manager really liked me because I said that.
Yeah.
It's not IT related, but it's similar because you're always dealing with people. Regardless in IT, you're gonna deal with
Yeah.
people. So I mentioned that, and he liked me, and then he hired me. That's basically how I got the job. He was impressed by that.
That's really good. Um,
Hmm.
could you shed some light on like home labs? Because a lot of people, and like I know a bunch of kids are gonna watch this, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, what's a home lab?" And because a lot of people, they have, for instance, even me, I didn't have a lot of experience in job. Like I didn't have any experience in the job market, but like how do I portray that? Like, where do I learn? Like, okay, I learned it doing this. So you're basically, is it basically that documentation, or how does that process work?
Yeah. So there is documentation for this. And I'm not trying to I'm not just trying to promote my channel or anything, but I have
Oh no,
videos
go
on me
ahead.
making
You
labs and stuff
deserve
like that.
more people on your channel. Trust.
So basically, I have YouTube videos where I cover how to make your own lab at home. So basically, what you're doing is you're installing VirtualBox.
Uh-huh.
You can either do VirtualBox or VMware, whatever works for you.
Yeah.
And I show you step by step where to download it, how to get it, and everything. And basically, you're downloading that, and you're creating a virtual environment for labbing or for like getting work experience.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what I do is I make it as simple as possible. And I explain to you that you have to make these labs using VirtualBox. So what you do is you install an ISO file the ISO is like
Mhm.
the CD of installing a program or a file on something. So
Oh
you
yeah.
would install the ISO file on the VirtualBox, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And basically you go to the steps of it, and I run it on the video. I show you how to do it,
Mhm.
and basically you do that. You install one for Windows 10,
Mhm.
and then you go ahead and download one for Server 2016,
Mhm.
and then you start labbing basically. So you start making your own lab, and I cover videos on basically running Active Directory using Server Manager, making your own server and installing your own server and setting it up from scratch from the beginning all the way to the end.
Mhm.
And once you're competent enough, I guess,
Mhm.
if on your job experience or your lab experience,
Mhm.
I say add that to your resume because it's going to give you power. It's going to give you firepower to your resume. So when you go to a job interview, you know how to answer it.
Right.
When you go to a job interview, you're more prepared for that interview. If you're working for, say, for a job applying for help desk or IT support,
Yeah.
you are more prepared for that job because you have your own lab and you know how to talk about it. You know how to defend it
Yeah.
because you've done it already.
Yeah. So when it doesn't really matter if you have like any job experience, but if you mention it under your skills, you can and you can if you put it under your skills and you can still defend it, then just put it on the resume. Put it under skills. Then rather putting it on job. Doesn't matter if you've done it in your last job. Just put it under your skills, and then if you can defend it, that should do the job. If that's right.
Yeah, so like if you so in your resume for someone that's new to IT,
Mhm.
for if you're brand new to IT and you don't have anything on your resume,
Mhm.
I would say put your previous experience. You cannot just have a blank resume. So you have a resume with with your previous experience. That's like the job. That's like the job you have. You put that there. Then on, you have your college degree, you have your education,
Hmm.
you have any volunteer work you did, you have your first name, your last name, where you live, your email address, and most companies, they want to see your LinkedIn profile too. So you will put your LinkedIn profile on the resume as well.
Right.
And then there's a section that's called technical skills.
Hmm.
So that section is basically targeted. So you target for that job. So if you're doing a help desk job and you're applying for that job, you want to put targeted keywords that are for that job. So what do I mean by that? It has to be keywords that that correlate with that job. So
Hmm.
if it's asking for server 2016, you put server 2016 under technical skills. If it's asking for Active Directory users and computers, you put that there. If it's asking for Windows 7 or Windows 10, you put that in there. If it's asking for hardware break and fix,
Hmm.
basically that's fixing computers, you
Right.
put that in there.
Right.
If it's asking for distribution groups, you put that in there. So all your skills you add it in there. And then but you don't we don't I don't promote lying on the resume.
Yeah.
Obviously you have to practice everything before you add it on a resume.
Mhm.
And then once you're competent enough to talk about it, then you're prepared for that job interview.
Right.
Hopefully that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, even if you want to lie, practice it. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You have to know
Yeah.
how to do it.
Like
You
even
can't
if
just
you're
like just
lying, you gotta know if how to lie. Like you gotta sell the lie properly. Like you gotta do it that way. If that makes sense to you guys.
yeah, like you don't lie on a resume simply because they're gonna ask you about it and then you don't know what to say.
Right.
That's basically the issue with that. So that's why I tell people to actually know what you're doing, and when you have it on your resume, you should know what it is. It's not just random things on the resume. You should know
Right.
what that is and how to defend it and how to break it down for somebody,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. And try to
Hmm.
keep it simple. Try to keep it competent so that the other person can understand it once he looks at it. And and when he asks you the questions, just go over those questions, that if that makes sense to you guys. You know. And watch
Yeah,
and watch Kev's those questions that he does. What's the series called, Kev?
It's called IT. It's called IT interview questions. So
Mhm.
basically, I have a playlist of all interview questions you might be asked on a job interview, and I explain how to answer it.
Yes, and it's a
Mhm.
beautiful series. It's perfect. It's to the point, and I really liked it. Like I honestly like when I went for my interview, just went through the whole playlist, and literally like it was like because I saw what was being asked, and like I knew or I had a rough idea of what kind of questions are going to come, and like how do you answer them, versus like you hear them for the first time in the interview and you're already nervous, you're already having your head's running 110 miles an hour. You have all these thoughts running around, and it's not the best time to like hear this information. I like even though you practice that same question, I don't know, maybe 45 times, but like it doesn't matter. Like if you've not practiced, like saying those questions out loud, or having somebody who's explaining it to you, or having somebody I'm sorry, having somebody in front of you and you explaining those questions to them, you know it doesn't, like, you have to practice it. You have to practice it. I cannot stress that anymore. Like, I hope that makes sense. Okay.
No, I totally agree with you. You have to practice the interview question because when you're doing job interviews, I tell people, anyone that's going to a job interview, it doesn't matter what kind of job it is. It could be IT, anything. It could be something else. You have to get out of your comfort zone and try to break that thing that you have. So break that part of being nervous.
Yeah.
You're always going to be nervous in a job interview, but if you practice, you're going to be less nervous,
Yeah. You gotta
So
get
it does
used
help.
to being nervous, and
Yeah.
so that you does it's not a new thing for you.
Exactly. You have to you already know you're gonna be nervous, but you know how to answer the question now.
Yeah.
But you're not gonna be and your stress level is going to be low now
Yeah.
because you know how to answer the
You
question
know
as
how
opposed
to
to having
deal
a high
with
level of
that
stress.
nervousness, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you don't know how to answer a question, your stress level is extremely high, and then you don't know what to say. You may say the wrong thing by accident, and that a bunch of stuff happens. So you want to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Those job interviews.
So basically, it's like practicing for those job interviews is like therapy for getting a real job. You know.
Exactly. Yes.
So like just keep that in mind, and go and watch his videos. I'll link it in the description as well. But like honestly, those are beautifully done. Sit them through and like just watch them with like with an open mind, and make pointers, try to understand. If you have questions, go ahead, shoot it in his comment section. Kevin is really active on his channel. He will answer whatever questions you have in the next section of whatever it is.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm here to help, man. It's just you ask for help, I'm gonna help you. It's just ask for help.
Oh yeah. That is so true. For me, oh yeah, on that note, let's actually talk about how we met. So one day I was on Zach's channel. Zach is IT Career Questions. He's a big guy on YouTube. I was just on his questions. He was asking questions on like a live session, and I was desperate for a job. Like I was totally desperate, and I just asked like, "Hey, does anybody know any jobs in the New York region?" And and then Kevin pops. Hey, I'm from New York. I can help you. And I was like, hey, let's connect. And then I don't know what happened. One thing led to another, and I think the first time we got introduced was on LinkedIn, right? You
Yeah.
shot your
Yeah. Yeah. We were like
yeah,
there.
you shot your LinkedIn link to me, and I was like, let's connect, let's talk. And I spoke to him, told him like, hey, Kev, I am doing this. I have a CCNA. I have this kind of background and all that stuff. And and then he was like, yeah, sure. We can speak about it. And like, I asked him like, hey, do you mind doing like a one on one, or like having a talk about it, or like a call or something like that? And he was like, I think you were busy that week, but so
Yeah. Yeah. I was
yeah,
busy.
so you said like let's do something on Friday, and I was like, cool. Then on Friday, and then you send me a link to your Discord, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me look into that. And then I downloaded Discord after a really long time, because I used to game, and so I used to have the app all the time, but like since I stopped gaming, and then because of the job situation and everything, I stopped gaming, didn't get enough time and all that stuff, so I took it out. Got back on Discord, and the, Kevin has this beautiful community of people that are there, that are so amazing, so amazing. Everybody's a master at something. Like you have Kevin Rocks, DS, amazing guy, amazing. Like he has so much knowledge about like Linux hacking, servers, whatever it is. Like it's probably one of those things. Like even G Suite's Office, the guy has a lot of knowledge about that stuff. So there's like there's so many people over there. You can just go. You can visit that. Just visit the link, and I'll put that Discord link as well, of his channel, and you guys can find me there as well. And it's just like everybody's ready to help each other out, and like everybody's in that same situation. Like you don't feel left out. You have people to talk to, and you can always just ask people anything, and everyone's more than happy to help. So it not only Kev, like everybody in the community is happy to help. That's the best part
Yeah.
of the community. I really like the community about that, for that part.
Our community is very our community is very special because And I mean that in a very good way because everyone wants to help each other, and it's just a positive community of people. That's basically what.
That is so true. That like I couldn't stress more about that. Honestly, like today we were gonna have a different talk, Kevin, if you know what I mean. But like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then like 5 minutes before, I get a call from the company saying, "Hey, we like we liked your interview, and we want to give you guys a chance. We want to give you a chance." They even told me that we know that you were asking for a full-time role, and that's why we want to give you the full-time role instead of the part-time. So yeah, it's a good job. I really like I mean, I'm really excited to get started into that, and let's hope for the best, man. Let's hope for the
Oh
best.
man, I'm happy for you. I'm excited. I'm not even working
Yeah,
in that job, and I'm excited for you.
yeah, man. I'm so thankful that just that desperation I mean I had at that point, and like I'm so happy that I met from you I met job skillshare and like everything that's what we were having a conversation before this, like wow, man, that was something else, but that's a podcast for a different day. We'll talk about that on different. I'll try to get you and Donish in the same podcast one day, and
Sounds like a plan.
yeah, let's try to do that. And yeah, so for somebody who's trying to get into IT, that like this is the next question that I have. For somebody who's trying to get into IT, like for me, I had a CCNA, I had a bachelor's degree and everything, but I didn't know what Active Directory is. You know, so for somebody who's getting into IT, what's the essentials like? What are the things that you would want to like give it out like? Spill the beans on me. Like, tell me, like, what all is necessary once you get into IT, or what are the skills, or what are the things that you need to know if you want to get into IT?
So for anyone that's new to IT, if you're trying to land a job in IT, I recommend making your own lab like we discussed earlier.
Um,
So build your own lab, make your own lab, add some stuff in there. Put Windows 10 on a virtual box. Put Server 2016 on the virtual box. They're obviously going to ask you to learn about Windows operating system. So get your hands on a book, the CompTIA Plus book. Get your hands on Professor Messer. He is absolutely free on YouTube, and you can follow along with him, and you can follow along with the book, and get a strong understanding of CompTIA Plus because it covers Windows, Mac, and Linux networking and mobile devices. When you're trying to get a job in help desk or IT support, those are the things you need to know. Is that and with the virtual box thing that I mentioned earlier, you combine that together with those two things.
mhm,
So if you do those two things, they'll be really good. And then after that, on top of that, you need to actually fix your resume.
right.
People are not going to hire you if you have a bad resume. So your resume tells a story about you, tells a story about what you did, what you have, what skills you know, and stuff like that. So you have to be your resume is like having a date. You have to be attractive to the person that's looking for you.
It's basically your Tinder bio for your career.
Exactly. It's your Tinder bio for your career. So basically what I'm saying is that you have to know what keywords to put on your resume and stuff like that. That's really, really the resume is super duper important. So you fix the resume up and then you make sure you do the A+ stuff and make sure you build a lab at home. Those are the three things you gotta do. Obviously the fourth thing would be like, actually going to the interview and actually practicing your job interview skills and stuff like that, which I do cover a bunch of that stuff on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I do cover a little bit of everything. So those are the key fundamentals of everything. Because what happens is when you go to a job, when you first start out your first job in IT, a lot of people have this misconception that they need to have 1,000 certifications. It,
yeah,
it doesn't work that way. So you need to know the fundamentals. You need to learn the CompTIA Plus stuff, or if you don't have time to get the certification, just read the book and learn the book, learn the basics of that,
mhm,
and then build your own lab at home, and then start applying for jobs. But obviously with a good solid resume, and don't get more certifications. It's not gonna do anything for you.
yeah,
You could get as many certifications as you want, but they're gonna they're gonna just brush that off. You know, you have to learn the skills or the tech skills or making your own home lab. Those skills are super duper important because then you know how to answer the questions, you know how to do a job interview, and you basically know how to do it. They have your own lab and everything. So because what happened with me is the problem with me was is that when I first started, just like everyone else is new here right now listening to this, when I first started, I got this thing, like I got different advice from different people.
Right.
First person told me go get a computer science degree and you should get a job in IT. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So the second person that told me go get the A plus and you should be fine. But I'm like, okay, I will get the A plus. So then when I got the A plus, then no one was hiring me. You know, that's not gonna do
Yeah.
anything. So you need to have your A plus. If you don't have it, then just understand the book. You need to understand that, and you need to understand the server stuff because when you're working help desk, it's gonna ask for Active Directory users and computers. It's gonna ask for Server 2016. You need to know how to unlock an account. You need to know what password reset is. You need to know how to lock an account. You need to know how to add someone to a security group, a distribution group. You need to understand Exchange 365 as well, and a bunch of other stuff. So that's basically what it is for me. That's the reality of IT. Is you have to learn those things together. Um, with me as a YouTuber and as a person that does IT,
Hmm.
the first thing I do is with anyone that's new to IT, I tell them to embrace rejection. What do I mean by that? I mean that you are going to get rejected a lot when you're applying for your first job
Yeah.
because you have no experience.
Yeah.
So you have to embrace rejection. And part of that is I break you down and tell you that. I tell you, you have to embrace rejection because a lot of these companies are not going to hire you and you're going to get hired at some point. Eventually, they're going to get hired. You're going to keep trying and trying and trying until the door opens for you.
Yeah.
So you gotta know how to have a mental you gotta know how to have a strong mental mindset for this because a lot of people what they do is they apply for 2 jobs or 3 jobs and then they give up right away. You can't do that. You have to apply to
Yeah.
500 jobs or whatever,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
basically what IT is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a little bit of
It's
everything, I
like it's
guess.
like for the guys who are listening to this podcast, it's like you get like maybe 1 or 2 matches on Tinder, man. It's the same way. It's the same way. It's the same game. You have to keep on applying. You have to keep on swiping, and you're gonna get it. For me, I applied to maybe like 300, 400 jobs, and then I got this job. Like, it's tough. The market is tough, but it's one of those things that you have to keep on going. You have to keep on going. You have to keep on doing this stuff. You have to keep on applying. You have to like switch up your resume, switch it up. Look at
Mm-hmm.
this. At Kevin's Discord, he has his resume reviews and all that stuff. I think you have the template in your Discord, or is it in that?
Yeah. No, I have my own resume template on my Discord and actually 3 people got a job with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
so it's a different one, and I really like that one as well. I think your resume was the one that I got inspired by, and I think it was Kevin. I mean Diaz, but Diaz helped me out with that, like with my resume, because the resume that I was using was getting me jack shit. Let's be honest, it was getting me nothing. And when I fixed up every like the wordings and everything, voila, and now I have a job. So
yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. Your resume is super duper important because no one's gonna call you if your resume sucks.
yeah,
And let's be honest. Like if your resume sucks, your resume sucks. No
yeah,
one's gonna call you.
yeah.
That's just the reality of IT. If you're not getting any calls, if I'm gonna say this right now because people are listening, if you're not getting any calls,
Hmm.
it's not because you need more certifications. People what they do is they want to get 100 more certifications because they're not getting any calls. Nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
It's your resume. Fix your resume. Fix your resume. That's what's important.
yeah.
It's your resume.
And I think you have a video about like you show your resume and you show exactly which resume you're using, and you get like a call from this recruiter, and you have a conversation with him and everything, and then you let him know like, oh, I'm doing this for YouTube basically, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
is
So
work.
but that's a fake resume.
Yeah,
So I made a fake resume with no experience, and
exactly.
then the job recruiter called me.
Yeah, like it's so amazing. Like the fucking shit works, man. that shit works. Like I am not even kidding. That shit works. Like when I looked at that resume, I'm not gonna. I'm being super honest, and this is the first time we've spoken. Like me and Kevin, we've spoken. I don't know, maybe like 40 times by this now. By this time, but like I never told this thing to him up front. But like when I saw that resume, I was super skeptical about it. I was like, that looks like shit. That looks like does not look good, and whatever it is. But like fucking works. It just worked, man. It just works. I don't know what's going on, but that it works, man. Like it's you think like, oh, it's gotta be looking pretty, it's gotta be this, it's gotta be that, it's gotta be this. No, it doesn't have to be pretty. It's gotta have those keywords. It's gotta have that content. It's gotta have what you have done. It's gotta explain what you've done, and in a manner that sounds professional. If that makes sense. It's so amazing, like the thing that he was using, just at first glance it doesn't look appealing, but it works. Please trust the process, that this is a process. It's going to work. Like just trust it. Yeah, just
Yeah,
go on his Discord.
you gotta try it.
Yeah, go on his Discord, get the resume template, and the this resume template that we're using now it's totally different than the video resume template, right?
Totally different. Different resume, and it has a lot of keywords in there. Totally different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's what, like, with that one. That one was a different one, and still that still worked. That's what I'm trying to say. If that worked, this new template is going to work, and it works better. You know. So, guys, you have to like trust it. Like I'm telling you from like personal experience, shit works. Shit works.
Yeah, you gotta have patience too. You gotta have a lot of
Oh
patience
yeah,
because like I said, you gotta have patience because like you're gonna, like I told you, you're gonna get rejected, and a lot of people it lowers their morale, and then you lose you lower your morale, and then you don't want to do anything anymore. You don't want to work IT.
Mhm.
You're like shit, man. I should just go back to restaurant because no one's hiring me. You know that happens.
Yeah,
So that's gonna happen. You gotta have patience. It's not a race. Just take your time with it, apply, and fix your resume as you see fit to apply for the job.
yeah. It's 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 not 100-meter dash. It's a marathon. You got to run it out.
And I tell people, like, I promise you, like, after that first job, I promise you, the doors are going to open for you.
Oh
All you got to do is just get experience. The first job in IT is your hardest job in IT. But after that, you have experience. After that, you go to the next job, and the next job, and the next one. It's gonna get easier over time.
yeah.
But you gotta like get kicked in the head a little bit in your first job to get the first job. But once you do that, you'll be fine.
Yep, yep. Couldn't agree. Couldn't agree more.
Hmm.
So, man, um, any questions you have for me, Kevin?
No, actually, yeah, I'm not prepared for this. I actually don't have
Uh
anything.
huh.
But yeah, I don't have anything. It's interesting. It was a good conversation, though. I had fun. I had fun.
All right, man. So yeah,
Hmm.
I hope everybody enjoyed this podcast. Like, please like, share, and share with people who need to know about like new stuff. This is just I'm gonna provide timestamps in the description as well. So you can tell your friends like, oh, you can just skip into this part. Like, if you want to listen to the whole podcast, well, have fun. And if not, timestamps will be provided in the description. You can go ahead, look into that, and then we can, you know, just look into whatever you wanna have. Um, I think we covered a lot of ground over here, Mister Kevin,
Yes, we did.
and I'll try to get you and Danish on the next one, and we'll have another chill podcast. Just mm, cracking open
Sounds
some beers, and just having a chill one. Uh,
sounds good.
Yep. And let's hope for the next one to come out faster than this one, cuz I haven't been uploading, man, and my upload schedule is like dog shit. Um,
It's okay.
yeah. Let's hope. Let's try to get more people to this podcast.
Participate.
Yeah, into this podcasting and whatever it is. Yeah,
Sounds good.
let's have fun, man. I'm honestly hoping to see more people getting into the Discord on Kevtech's Discord, on Job Shares Discord, but like I'll introduce him when he comes. And
Yeah,
yeah,
should be fun.
yeah. So, any closing remarks that you want to make, Kevin?
No, nothing at all. I hope everyone is I hope everyone stays safe. I hope everyone it's Friday over here. I hope everyone has a good weekend.
Oh yeah.
I hope everyone stays safe. I wish everyone the best health, the best health, the best everything.
Hmm.
Best wishes to everyone. Just stay safe, stay healthy, and that's it.
Yeah. And you guys need to understand this. It's a Friday evening over here. It's a Friday evening over here, guys. He's having a podcast with me on a Friday evening. He could have done anything. He could have just sat down, kicked back, had a couple of beers, just chilled. But he chose to come and have this conversation with me. He's that kind of a person. He's a really nice person who really just genuinely wants to help you, and you need to just ask him. Like for me, I was scared because I told him like I had a bachelor's degree and I had a CCNA and everything, but I was just scared to ask him about like Active Directory and stuff. I was being like, oh, what do you what he might think, or what she might think, or whatever it is. It could be anything. Like, just have to ask, man. Honestly, just have to ask, and people are ready to help you. People like Kevin do exist. And yes, when I remember, man, the first time I came to your channel, like, where were you guys all my life? That shit was funny. Yeah. Anyways,
No.
I guess we should wrap this one up. And you guys, I'll see you in the next one. Take care, like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comment section, who do you guys want me to get in the next podcast? Maybe somebody from my team, maybe somebody from somewhere else, whatever it is. Let me know. I'll try to contact them and get them onto this podcast. And yeah, let's get stuff done, man. Let's get stuff done. I hope this helps. Kevin get or you get an opportunity to have Kevin help you out. All right, guys, take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.
अपॉन वाई जेड तो ऐसे सवालों को करने के लिए देखिए एक तो बेसिक ट्रिक है एक तो लाइक और शेयर ठोक दीजिए
शुभ हाँ
दबा के लाइक और शेयर ठोक दीजिए 5,000 लौटे दिख जाना चाहिए ये 4,000 के लिए मैं यहाँ पे नहीं खड़ा हूँ पूरा साल मेहनत करता हूँ आपके लिए बेटा ऐसा नहीं चलेगा लाइक ठोकी दबा के